That was Steve Clarke speaking to Amy Canavan, and Amy asking him about the formation back to the 3-5-2 and he's saying that's a formation that got us to two tournaments before, so we should know what we're doing with it.
Absolutely, and there wasn't as much as a lengthy pause as he gave her the other night when she asked him about what the formation looked like, and to be fair, I don't think it did look like a 4-4-2 the other night, even when he answered. So let's be hopeful that it does look like that tried and tested 3-5-2 that we've seen, and spot on, it has worked. I think it works with the personnel, the availability. I think it works tonight with the squad and the players that you selected within that. I think you can definitely get the most out of Andy Robertson and Ross McCrory, as Stuart had touched on as well. You've got a solid back three that are comfortable in terms of your John Souttar and Kieran Tierney, especially stepping into the game and playing and giving you that overload in the middle of the pitch if you need it to go and break lines. And we want to see two strikers up top, so let's hope the players underneath that, your Ryan Christies and Scott McTominay, can go and create, run beyond. As we say, we want more enthusiasm, more chance created, more opportunities in front of goal, more excitement, and they've certainly got the ingredients to go and do that based on that selection.
Yeah, Tom, we want those travelling thousands of Tartan Army to get something to get them off their seats, and as Steve Clarke said, there are no injuries, please.
Yeah, like no injuries, first of all. Performance. The performance is absolutely key. Some momentum, some feel good, something that makes you go, aha, okay, they're up and running now. They're on their way. You want that, even if it's a defeat, but you want like a battling defeat. This will be a good team, even though it's second string. They're both second string. But you're looking through these list of players and the transfer fees that these have commanded on a lot of these Ivory Coast players on their last move or the most recent move. Eye-watering, 30 million, 23 million, 25 million, 14 million. Like, this is an expensive team. This will be a good side. They'll take an awful lot of beating, but if Scotland get out of this with a win and a performance, they're on the way.
I think we would take the performance first and foremost, Willie, wouldn't we?
So yeah, something to put a smile in the faces of the fans and give the players a bit of confidence as well. And I didn't think we got that against Japan, and that was a disappointing aspect of it. And I think tonight they've got an opportunity to put that right. Don't think it's going to be easy. That's for sure. Probably I haven't seen Ivory Coast, obviously, up close, but they look a big physical. Watching them on TV in the tunnel there, they look a big physically strong side as well. So it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be tough for the new players. But like McCrory and this is an opportunity to make a statement to the manager. If you're wanting to be involved in the World Cup, that's what you've got to take. That's what you've got the World Cup finals. That's what you've got to take these friendlies for as a player. An opportunity. If you're trying to break through into the squad, if you're trying to make a name for yourself, well, go out and claim it. You've got nobody to blame but yourself if you don't take the opportunity to impress the manager. And this is a night that they can do that.
You are listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. The World Cup build-up continues as Scotland take on Ivory Coast at Everton's Hill Dickinson Stadium. Plenty more coming up from Leanne Crichton, Willie Miller and Tom English, but the teams are in the tunnel. We are almost ready to go. So let's hand to our commentary team in Liverpool, Stuart McCall and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks very much, Andy. The other teams emerging at the magnificent Hill Dickinson Stadium as Scotland look to improve upon a fairly dismal friendly record, but they're up against another tough opponent in Ivory Coast who put 4 past South Korea on Saturday as Scotland were losing at home to Japan. So despite the raft of changes in both lineups, this is going to be another tough encounter for the Scots against Ivory Coast, who, like Scotland, returned to the World Cup this summer after a bit of a wait, 12-year one in their case. And they are lined up now, ready for the national anthems here.
Please stand, if able, for the national anthems. First, the national anthem of Scotland.
Well, as you could probably hear in the terms of the rendition of Flower of Scotland, there's a good number of Scots have made the trip to Liverpool for this one in this cavernous new stadium. Both ends behind the goals are pretty well packed out, and there's a good gathering over in the stand opposite us as well, so the Scots will be well backed, and a few pockets of Ivory Coast fans dotted around as well in a still pretty chilly late March evening here on Merseyside, as the Scots get the training tops off. They're all in navy blue tonight, the Scots, while their opponents are all in bright orange. And Steve Clark was pointing out in terms of the Ivory Coast lineup, yeah, there are a few inexperienced players. Wahi, for instance, earns his international debut. There's also a fair bit of experience, not least the captain from Kessier. The defence are all pretty experienced as well, so it'll be an interesting matchup as both managers just test out a few players ahead of having to whittle down to 26 prior to the main event in the summer. Andy Robertson on that halfway line, the Scotland captain, awaiting Kessier to join him for the exchange of pennants. The match officials are ready as well. Ivory Coast just having their team photo taken before Franck Kessier will make his way for that exchange of pennants. He makes his way now, and we're just about ready to go. The pitch is in immaculate condition, as you would hope for, and it promises to be another very interesting night here. Scotland hoping to just make more of an imprint on the game than they managed against Japan. Pretty passive at times, allowing Japan to dictate that game on Saturday. They will hope to take the game to their opponents a bit more, perhaps, with the different formation. As the manager pointed out, it suits the likes of Dom Hyam and Ross McCrory, who come in to the Scotland team, who play this formation for their clubs, Wrexham and Bristol City respectively. So let's see what tonight brings. We are almost ready to go. Scotland will go from right to left as we look at it up in the gods here at the back of the stand, and it will be them to kick us off. Billy Gilmore just stretching off the thigh muscles before he's going to roll the ball back under the referee's next whistle. Daniel Elder, the Australian, poised to get us off and running here at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Players poised and just desperate to get off and running here, just trying to get a handle on the Ivory Coast formation. It does look again like it's going to be a 4-3-3 as Gilmore does get us underway. We'll try and work out who exactly is playing where for Ivory Coast as Scotland win the flick on there. It was Hurst who won that, but Adams couldn't latch onto it, and it's all the way through to Alban Lafont, who plays for Panathinaikos, winning just his fourth cap in goal. And out to the right hand side to Wilfried Singo, who came on to score a fabulous fourth goal. It was a counter-attack which he began from deep inside his own half against South Korea, played it to Amad Diallo and promptly got it back and netted with a side foot to round off the scoring at the Milton Keynes Dons Stadium on Saturday. It's Scotland in early possession on the halfway line as Christie gets it to John Souttar. Back with Christie just inside his own half, and back the way now to Dom Hyam. Out to Tierney, played on that left-sided centre-back role, which we've seen him play for Scotland many times over the years. And now out to McCrory. Big night for McCrory, winning just his second cap. His first call up since the Euros. Scotland trying to make some headway down that right hand side, but that'll be mopped up there by Diamonde. But under a bit of pressure here now is Conan. and out of play over on the far side. And Scotland already, Stuart feels, are just pressing that bit higher than perhaps they did against Japan at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, straight away you see the two wing backs, Roberts and McCrory, high and wide, the front two, and McTominay playing right up just behind them, so it's really positive. Gilmour will sit as a 6 and try to get on the ball, but yeah, positive start. But I like Christie as a footballer, I like McTominay, I like Gilmour. I think they're all good footballers. So, but it'll be McTominay's job to get in the box, as he did on Saturday against Japan. He had, 2 really good efforts, and that's his strength, arriving in the box. And if anybody's, looked likely on the part that's going to get a chance or score a chance, it's normally him or McGinn.
Yeah, he was very unlucky in the early stages, wasn't he, against Japan? A terrific save from Suzuki, the keeper. There could be an opportunity here. Adams spins on the edge of the box, just knocks it back to Christie. He's shot with his pass out to the left. Robertson wasn't quite on his toes either, but it's been given away again by Ivory Coast and picked up here on the left hand side by Hurst on the angle of the box. Takes it into the penalty area. Can he get a shot away here? Charged down in the end just as he pulled the trigger. Not entirely clear on the edge of the penalty area just now, and it's going to fall for Christie. He gets a good shot in, but it's pushed away by the keeper away to the left hand side. Really good effort from Ryan Christie, controlled it well, but the keeper makes a good stop. Scotland pick up once more just outside the area. McTominay with a little dummy gets his pass off here to Kieran Tierney, who's invited to shoot but drags the shot about 10 yards wide of the far post. But it is a bright start from the Scots, but it's Ivory Coast 0, Scotland 0.
Yeah, really positive start. I like Hurst, he cuts inside, gets his shot off. When it comes to Christie, he's got a lovely left foot, makes a keeper save and work. And Tierney, just a shot wee wide there, but very positive start.
And George Hurst as well beginning that attack. Just unfortunate to see his shot blocked, but he had a similar kind of effort there on Saturday, Stuart, when he came in. I thought he actually did reasonably well, and he's a player obviously you'll see a lot of in the Championship, George Hurst. Yeah,
that's right. He's had I'm saying different. I think he's got 8 goals down there. He's done fine. Obviously Ipswich are flying, but he's been a little bit inconsistent. That would be the only thing. When he's hot, he's in really good form.
Tierney has it midway inside his own half is Dom Hyam, and plays it to the right to Suter crossing the halfway line, and forwards by McCrory, comes off an Ivory Coast player and out for a throw-in over on the far side. Scotland have the throw right hand side here, midway inside the Ivory Coast half. Back away it goes to Suter on the halfway line. 4 minutes in, no goals. As Hyam gets another touch of the ball into the feet of Gilmour, who will want to try and dictate the play in that sitting role in front of the back three. Played forward down the left. Robertson can't latch onto it. It's knocked away by Singo, and Hyam's got to be careful here. The bouncing ball manages to get it partially clear, picked up though by Traore. Back to Liam Kelly it goes. A big night for him, and it's slightly untidy, uncertain ball out to the left hand side that trickles out for a throw-in down near the corner flag from the Rangers second choice keeper. Getting an opportunity here this evening. Just looked a little bit tentative with that one, didn't he? But here's Hurst doing really well, winning the ball on the halfway line. Singo's stayed down, it's played here to Adams on the edge of the penalty area. Plays it to his right hand side to McCrory. McCrory cuts it back to the edge of the box. Christie takes it on first time on the right foot, and it wasn't really ever set for it, and it's well wide of target. But Scotland again on the counter there, doing really well, but it's still goalless. Yeah,
Hurst uses physicality there down the left hand side, but what was pleasing to see McCrory on the far side getting forward as if he's a winger type. He's playing really high on that side. Cuts it back, unfortunately it's on Christie's weaker side on his right, and he skies it over. But again, promising signs.
Scotland again looking to press Ivory Coast deep in their own territory. It seems like they've been given that instruction this evening from their manager, and it's paying dividends in the early stages as they've had the better of the play so far. Into the middle of the park there for Kessié. Back into the left back area. Ivory Coast looking to try and play out from defence, and it's good harrying again from Scotland. McTominay picks up, but he drags his shot well wide of target as well. But Scotland look, they're going to get a bit of joy from this Preston, Stuart.
It's a formation we actually play at Preston as well in the Championship, and it gives the midfield players licence to go really tight. And if their teams are trying to play out, the press has got to be good, which it has been. The wing backs can push high, and it can be an aggressive formation.
I was just looking at the back for Scotland. They're kind of man for man at the moment, almost three against three.
Well, that's the thing when you go as a press
isn't it?
like this. Yeah, you go 3 for 3. You've got to accept that when the ball's coming forward and trust your defenders, and then you get your midfielders to get back. And here we go, we've won it again.
Yeah, they have, and it's Christie who picks up just inside the Ivory Coast half. Gilmour back to Christie on the halfway line. The Bournemouth player out to the left hand side here for Tierney. Scotland have started the match well. A little flick there from Hurst to McTominay midway inside the Ivory Coast half. Back the way to Suter and out to McCrory right hand side. Back to Suter just inside Ivory Coast territory, and back to Hyam just outside the centre circle. Played 7 minutes, no goals as yet here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland as Scotland play another World Cup warm-up. I'll never tire of saying that phrase, World Cup warm-up. It's been a long time since anyone's been able to utter that about a Scotland team. As Ivory Coast have it now in possession, it's Kusunu playing it out from the back, but again it's Hyam getting first to it. Almost comes through for Adams, but not quite. And Ivory Coast try to build, but they haven't got into the rhythm at all as yet. But they'll try and do that now with Ulai out to the left hand side. As Ivory Coast try to cause a problem here, and they might be in here. They're in the penalty area, and it's a layoff that's cleared by Tierney. It was Wahi who just tried to lay that into the path of one of his own rushing teammates, but Tierney had read the danger and gets it cleared out to the far side. Ivory Coast have it over on the left flank, trying to build through Ulai in the midfield. Just a teenager, plays for Trabzonspor, 19 years old. He's single, and back the way to Kusunu once more, and all the way back to his goalkeeper Lafont, right on the edge of his penalty area. Plays it to his left to Diamonde, and then out to Kona on the left back into Kessié, the captain, and back to the keeper once more. They're confident that they can play it around at the back and play around that Scotland press, which they've managed to do so this time certainly. Picked up by Nicola Pepe and out to the left hand side for Kona, who likes to get forward from left back to Pepe, who looks like he's got a bit of a roving role here, and he's trying to burst through, and he's into the penalty area, and he's going to go for goal, and it's deflected behind, and it will be an Ivory Coast corner. And for the first time they start to click, Stuart, and almost an opportunity there for Pepe.
Yeah, I think that's what happens, when you play this system. If their winger goes inside, McCrory's got to go with him. That means the left back's free, and Christie's got to do that job and get out there. And it was good football by them. They have got talented players, there's no doubt about that, although a lot of inexperience out in the park, but they can move the ball, and they showed that in that occasion there.
Corner kick then over on the far side for Ivory Coast. 9.5 minutes played here. Ivory Coast trying to grab an opening goal here, and it's a dangerous looking ball. McCrory gets something on it to knock it out of the penalty area. Being picked up here by Pepe, angle of the box right hand side, looking to cut in on his left. It's the pass off and then back out to the right hand side, and it's Singo will have an opportunity to put the ball back in, and it's a good ball, and Scotland just about dig it out, and it's Adams who picks up on the edge of his own penalty area and then plays it back looking for Kelly. He didn't see Traore there, who was closing down. He just gets that away, does Kelly, and now it's good play from Hurst, bringing Scotland forward into the Ivory Coast half. Tries to find the pass back out to Adams, right hand side, back to McTominay, about 25 yards from goal now. Scotland looking for a way through here as Gilmour keeps it moving to Tierney left hand side, and now Robertson back with Tierney. Gilmour takes over once more, plays a short pass to McTominay, goes all the way back to Hyam on the halfway line, and now Tierney once more looks for a bit of movement ahead of him, then plays it back in field to Gilmour. It's a heavy touch from Suter, and then he has to go and dive in for the second ball, and he just about manages to win that. Almost played himself into trouble there, did the Rangers centre back, but gets away with it, and now Gilmour has it for Hyam. Hyam just sitting in the middle of that back three as the sweeper, as McTominay arrows it out to Robertson here. Back for Tierney first time. Tierney tries to link with him again. It's a lovely ball. Robertson should catch that as it gets to the byline. Little cut back. Might fall for McTominay. Shot comes in the end. It wasn't. It was Ryan Christie who took it on McTominay's toes. He didn't get any purchase on it. And it's easily saved. And now Ivory Coast come on the counter. Trying to spring this counter-attack on the Scots. It's Pepe from the edge of the penalty area. Slips the ball. It's going to come off the post. It's a tap-in for Pepe. And Ivory Coast have the opening goal. It came from a Scotland attack only 30 seconds prior, and Pepe is the man to tap in from just a couple of yards out after the initial shot came back off the upright, and Scotland are behind after just 12 minutes. It's Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0.
Yeah, we've certainly got done on the counter, haven't we? It's positive in ways, Scotland getting bodies forward, but you've always got to make sure the back door's locked, and they've countered quickly. Boy cuts inside, pulls it back, goes across, it's a post, and unfortunately the lads there to tap it in. But no, Hurst has started promisingly. We've got in good areas. We have a shot, don't really get hold of it, and the keeper, and then he bowls it straight out wide, and they're on to us. It was a 3v2, then a 4v3, and I mean, we can't. This is a game we asked for. We wanted entertainment. With Scotland have been in box, they're having shots at goal, but sometimes in this system, it is a positive system. You can be open at the back if you bombed your two wing backs forward.
12 minutes in, the Scots behind, but Stuart's right. We asked for a more enterprising performance from the Scots, and we have had it in the opening 12 minutes, but they have fallen behind, caught on the counter by Nicolas Pepe's 12th goal for his country on his 54th cap. He won't score too many easier in the end. It was a tap in from a yard out after Wahi's shot on the turn came back off the post. Liam Kelly was rather flat footed and could do nothing about it as it came back to the on-rushing Pepe, who knocked it into the back of the net to give Ivory Coast the lead, and they're coming forward again here, and it's Wahi almost latching onto that. Suter rather dives in. Wahi's looking for a free kick's not forthcoming from the Australian official, and Scotland continue in possession here, looking to respond to that early blow despite having started the game pretty well, you'd have to say, Stuart.
Yeah. See, Suter got a little bit lucky there. The boy he might have just caught the boy and been last man, but the referee thankfully played on. But listen, it's a game that we were asking for, Scotland going forward. But as I said it before, the game we want and the game Steve Clarke wants will be a total different, because he won't want us to be so open. But as supporters coming to watch today, we want, after what happened Saturday, this is what we want to see. Look, Scotland breaking forward, playing forward passes, running forward, entertaining, being exciting.
And it's Christie at the edge of the penalty area, out to the left hand side for Robertson. Plenty navy blue jerseys in the middle. If he can pick one out, it's back to Tierney. He sweeps it in back post. It's beyond George Hurst. McCrory will go and try and chase it, but it's been picked up instead by an Ivory Coast jersey, and eventually knocked out a play for a throw-in. But Scotland attack coming to nothing there. It was promising.
I think just prior to their goal, it was a great ball by Tierney in behind for Robertson. Cuts it back, we've got bodies in the box, we get a shot, keeper saves it, or catches it, wasn't really a save, and they, in 5 seconds later, they're scoring in our goal, unfortunately.
It was Kessié into Wally, and now the goal scorer Pepe up to the halfway line. Kessié once more, challenged there by Tierney. Robertson picks up, just knocks it out of play just in front of Steve Clarke. What I would say about this impressive new stadium is the technical area is pretty tiny, Stuart. You wouldn't like that. These new managers want to be prowling around vast technical areas when you can.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Ivory Coast in possession on the halfway line. Out to that left hand side, it's Conan. 1-0 Ivory Coast lead, thanks to Nicolas Pepe's early goal. Scotland has started the game brightly, and they want to try and keep that up if possible, despite trailing by the goal to nil. It's going to be an Ivory Coast throw in here, more or less on the halfway line, right hand side as they come forward. It's Wilfried Singo to take it.
Yeah, seeing this system out, you can see the left back for them is their out ball. If it goes there, Christie's got to get right across and get out to him. McCrory's been pinned back by Louis Traore on the left wing, and it's now Christie has to go to the left back.
It's pinged forward there as Ivory Coast trying to come forward once more. Picked up by Pepe. The shot comes off the back, I think, of Hayam. It's going to be another Ivory Coast corner over on the far side. Pepe looks in the mood. He's a man who once commanded that massive fee when he moved from Lille to Arsenal back in 2019 for, I think it was 80 million euros or thereabouts at the time. It didn't really happen for him, and he's been a little bit nomadic in his career now at Villarreal, and not always a first pick for his country, it has to be said, but he is the man who's got the goal, and he was trying to test Liam Kelly there as well. Comes off Hayam for this corner. 16 and a half played. Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0. Corner kick from the left hand side. It's going to be swung in near post. It's well won by Hayam. He's done well so far in his first international start. Again, he's a player you'll see a fair amount of down in the Championship for Wrexham. Stuart, has he been impressive this season?
Yeah, he certainly has. Good buy in the summer from Blackburn. He was a rock at Blackburn, and Wrexham, as they can do with most clubs, blew a lot of teams out of the water for his wages. And yeah, he's I think it's 25 games he's played for Wrexham, and they're pushing into the playoffs. Yeah, he's been a really good signing for him. He's a leader. And he sits in the middle of the defence and organises and talks. Good experienced pro.
It's Ulai out to the left hand side to Conan, who, as Stuart points out, is often finding himself in a fair amount of space, although Christie's trying to keep an eye on him here. It's played back into the middle there for Traore, and now it's Kessie on the halfway line for Ivory Coast. Almost 18 minutes played. The Scots trailing by a goal to 0, and here's the man who inflicted that upon him, Pepe, playing it back to Kessie just inside his own half. And now Kusunu of Atalanta. Some of the players playing at a really high level, but so are Scotland's. No inferiority complex these days, as Ivory Coast, that goal has certainly given them the confidence to knock the ball about a bit. Scotland having to drop in to their own half here to defend, as Ulai picks up once more and plays out to the left hand side again to Conan. Further to his left is Traore. He goes down under the challenge there of McCrory, again looking for a free kick which doesn't come his way, and now Hayam has it just outside his own penalty area. Plays it down the right channel up towards Adams. He can't get onto it, but perhaps Christie will. Right on the touchline, squeezes the ball between a couple of Ivory Coast players into Gilmore, and a lovely little bit of play from Gilmore. It just adds something else to that Scotland midfield, Billy Gilmore, I always feel, Stuart.
Yeah, he keeps it ticking, doesn't he? Keeps it, gets on the ball, knows the game, intelligent. I was unlucky there, played a good ball to Christie, and Christie just couldn't get under control.
Here's Pepe then for Ivory Coast, right hand side, comes back to the halfway line to Kusunu, who gets it back once more from Ulai, then to Singo, who goes all the way back to his goalkeeper, and made a good early save from Ryan Christie. Other than that, largely untested, as Conan plays it into Ulai, who's beginning to pick up a few pockets of space in the midfield. Here he is once more, back out to Conan, and then back with Ulai, plays it forward as Toure picks up. That's a slight miss kick there into the midfield, and Scotland have got possession back, and it's Gilmore picking a good pass for Hurst. Good feet from him. Gets it back to Tierney just inside his own half. Now Gilmore forward once more for McTominay, still just inside the centre circle, back to Suter, and now Hayam closed down. But, Scotland keep possession. It's Tierney out to the left hand side for Robertson, back to Tierney once more, turns away from his marker, plays it to Hayam, who plays it out to Robertson, about 10 yards inside the Scotland half. Back to Hayam once more.
They've got an injury there in the middle of the park.
Yeah, Ivory Coast player down, holding his head, so Scotland, I think, drawing the referee's attention to that, and on come the medical team. A chance after 20 minutes for Steve Clarke to just get his players across for a quick word as well, but despite being a goal down, he'll you imagine be relatively pleased by the way they've started.
Well, it was a promising, what would you say, first 10 minutes, and then they begin now to, after the goal, dominate the tempo of the game, putting a lot of passes in. Scotland doing a lot of chasing early on in the play. When they were playing out from deep, we were pressing, we were winning the ball back, but they've started, the goals calmed them down, and they've started knocking it about a little bit. And it's we need to, when we do win it, we need to still have that forward thinking in his mind, that when we win it, we're not going to go backwards, we're going to play forward. We've got the two strikers, we've got two, wing backs who want to get forward and go and support. So I think still be positive when we win the ball. It's a tough ask when we've not got possession, as I say, because of they've got the confidence now after getting the goal and settling down. They were certainly unnerved for the first 10 minutes, but they've got a lot of inexperienced players out there, top players, but inexperienced in the fact that they've not played a lot of international games.
During this little break, the camera's panning round various other former Scotland luminaries who also graced this part of the world. Graham Sharp, the most recent one, Duncan Ferguson and Gary McAllister, who played on the other side of the city, of course. But
you missed the greatest one right at the beginning, King Kenny.
Well, I didn't notice him, but certainly you're right. The greatest of them all, for sure. I'm sure he's been made very welcome at Hill Dickinson Stadium.
Sir Alex was here as well.
I saw Davy Moyes, who you would expect to be here, the manager here, and doing a terrific job, getting Everton back up where they feel they belong. Play back underway. It was Franck Kessié, the captain of Ivory Coast, who was requiring a bit of treatment. He's back on his feet and back involved as Gilmour plays it out to the right hand side to McCrory, who hasn't really got involved as yet on that right flank. And Scotland play back into their own half, and it's out with Tierney left hand side. Square for Hyam here. Hyam plays it into Christie, then Gilmour. That's a good ball forward. McTominay just can't quite get onto it. It was a good idea from Gilmour. He and McTominay, as you would imagine, with their club link, they do play well together, but on that occasion the ball from Gilmour was just maybe slightly overhit for McTominay, and the move breaks down. Played forward there by Kusunu down the right hand side, picked up by Singo, who does like to maraud forward from that right back position for Ivory Coast. He's one inside a throw in about 15 yards away from the corner flag on that right flank. Back to the goal scorer Pepe. We're just beyond the midway point in the first half. Ivory Coast lead by a goal to nil, but Scotland, well, they certainly started well. As Stuart was saying there, Ivory Coast having got the goal, maybe just beginning to dictate play a little more, as it's picked up by Ulai in the midfield. He gets it back, but Pepe can't hold on to it. It's a good challenge from Tierney into the feet of Hurst. Tries to run at that Ivory Coast defence, doesn't get anywhere, but the ball does break for Gilmour, who slips at an inopportune time, but somehow manages to get him back onto his own feet and keep the ball at the same time. And now it's McCrory slipping it in, and again it's just ahead of Ryan Christie. Another decent idea that had been just a little bit under hit, and Christie might well have been in for a shot on goal, as it is through to the goalkeeper. 1-0 at Ivory Coast.
It all comes from us being aggressive and brave in the press. We went and won it back high up. We've got players then, once we win it back, we've got players in the top end of the park we can use. Here we go again, this is better.
Gilmour plays a short ball to McTominay midway inside the Ivory Coast half. Back to Gilmour, who plays it square to Tierney. I'm not sure what he saw there. Christie certainly wasn't on the same wavelength, and that's all the way through to the goalkeeper Lafont.
See if we can be brave now and stay high. See if we can get a bit of press on them, like we were doing in the first 10 minutes.
Played out short to Kusunu, back to his goalkeeper. Hurst goes and tries to close him down. It's played square out to Diamondi and then over to Conan left hand side, and they managed to get round Scotland, and here they come forward down that left flank, looking at threaten here. It's played into Wahi, the debutant. He goes for goal, and it's onto the roof of the net. That's an ambitious effort from the Nice frontman, and Liam Kelly, well, he looked comfortable that it was heading over at the top, but I'm not sure how much it missed by.
Yeah, I mean that starts from the keeper having it, and our organisation and communication not being right. Ross McCrory jumps, leaves his man behind him. We don't get out and get covered, and they bounce a nice little 1-2 and they're out. Good football by them. but we just got the press wrong, and when that happens, good teams can play through you.
Yeah, Liam Kelly will have the goal kick, but the rerun showed that it didn't miss by much from Wahi. Here's Adams, back to Gilmore. Gilmore now driving forward. Loose pass though from Gilmore in between two Scotland players, and Ivory Coast will now spring another counter-attack. Singo slips, just manages to poke the ball back to Pepe though. Ivory Coast trying to keep possession at the edge of the penalty area. Ivory Coast just coming back the way now as they look to threaten once more, leading by a goal to nil after 26.5 minutes at Hill Dickinson Stadium. You listen to Sports Sound here on BBC Radio Scotland. BBC being the place to listen and watch the Scotland national team at the World Cup, and in the build-up as well, as Singo picks up for Kusunu, and Singo all the way back to the goalkeeper, just at the edge of his penalty. He plays it out to his left-hand side to Diamondi. Across goes Adams, but it's played out to Conan. Christie across there to try and close him down. Kessier gets the ball back to Diamondi once more, and back to the keeper as the crowd try and lift the team here. Trailing by that goal to nil. Nicolas Pepe on 12 minutes, and Ivory Coast just knocking the ball around quite nonchalantly at the moment, beginning to enjoy the game after getting that opener. And here's the man who scored it, Pepe, into the feet there of Traore. 1-2 almost comes off, but Scotland have picked it up. It's Christie for Adams. That's a pretty ambitious ball. It's asking too much there of George Hurst, and there wasn't really any chance he was going to get onto it. Ivory Coast tidy up. Yeah,
that's been a disappointing thing in the last 5 minutes. The final pass, we've got into the final third 2 or 3 times. Gilmore give a ball away. Christie another one. Thankfully a minute ago though, if Ivory Coast has switched that the left back was in all on his own, that's what we've got to be careful. I think that's where their threat's going to come from, down that left hand side.
Yeah, McCrory's been dragged all over the place by Touré, isn't he? And it's leaving Conan all on his own on that left hand side. As you say, Ryan Christie occupying a more central berth, but he is trying to get out to him when necessary. Ivory Coast at the moment coming down the right hand side, and Singo will take the throw in back the way to his centre back Kusunu. There's Diamondi, applies his trade with Sporting in Portugal. It's clipped forward now for Traore down that left hand side. Souttar's with him, tries to spin away from him, does the little winger. Back the way now with Conan, tries to get it into the box. It's blocked by McCrory at the expense of a corner. 29 minutes in, 1-0 Ivory Coast. And they'll have another corner kick over on the far side.
Yeah, I think little Traore started really well. He's bright, he's made a lot of good forward runs, and the difference when we've made our runs, our final pass into them has not been good enough. They're picking people out when they're going forward, and it was a good bit of football again by them.
So here comes the corner kick from the left for Ivory Coast as they look for a second goal here in the first half, and it comes to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's Hurst and it's poked towards goal, and no real purchase or power in the shot in the end from Diamondi, I think it was, who stabbed it goalwards, but Kelly able to clutch that one, because that was a decent chance there for Ivory Coast as the ball fell kindly in the penalty area, but they couldn't take it.
Yeah, another good bit of fortune there, thankfully. The boy could have done a lot better. It just landed to him from a set piece, and thankfully he mishit it and it landed in Kelly's hands.
Surprised, the goalkeeping situation's a bit of a conundrum at the moment. He's surprised he's given, he hasn't persisted with Angus Gunn, who probably needs games, and if Craig Gordon's not going to be fit, which is looking up in the air at the moment, then you would imagine Angus Gunn will be the first pick. You can answer that in a moment, because here comes George Hurst at the edge of the box, played in by Gilmore, can't keep it. Gilmore wins it back though. McTominay onto the right foot, tries to cut one, good save. Tip behind for a corner as McTominay tries to find an equaliser from 22 yards, but the keeper was equal to it, and it will be a Scotland corner.
And again, it doesn't come from any great football. It comes just from winning the ball up high, being aggressive, taking it off them. McTominay's been very quiet up to now. It's a good strike, and the keeper manages to get over to his left and parry it out for a corner. But encouraging signs. But again, it's hard to be brave all the time if you get picked off occasionally. But that's the positives you get from it. You get the opportunities.
Here's the corner kicked in. Gilmour tries to lay it back, but he's not got a hold of that. It might yet work out for Scotland as they've won it back and get it back to Gilmour. It's another loose pass from Gilmour, though it's very unlike him. But he's put Scotland in a bit of bother here as Ivory Coast come forward on the left-hand side. Scotland funneling bodies back to try and avoid another counter-attack loss. But Gilmour, who we tend to praise for his precision passing, and that's a couple of times there immediately from the corner, and then when he got a second bite at it, 2 poor balls into teammates.
Sloppy, very sloppy. But the corner's been worked, a work corner, you see it done, pulled back, but he doesn't get enough on it. But thereafter that, a sloppy casual pass. His next pass needs to be a good one, get his confidence back.
Ball's played forward down the Ivory Coast right, but Robertson retrieves it, hammers it up towards the halfway line. Chessier with a audacious chest pass, about 25 yards on that chest pass somehow.
He chested it more than further than I can shoot it.
It's impressive stuff from a Lackley player, and good feet as well there from Toure. A little slip there allows Scotland to win possession back, but have been just a little bit untidy in possession of late, and Ivory Coast have got it back once more. Played 32 and a half minutes. It's Ivory Coast leading by a goal to nil. Nicolas Pepe after 12 minutes. But it's been a better watch generally. The game is just that bit better than Saturday's one for sure.
The intent's been there. It's just been the quality. We've been sloppy in possession. We've got to do better. We've got to look after the ball better. And I think the pressing at times has been good. That's where the chances have come from. But when we get it wrong, against, let's say, it's a good side then can pick you off. But it's been them brave enough to carry on that and win it high up and have belief. You have to go 1v1 at times.
Toure gets the free kick there from the grappling. The referee deemed it McCrory was guilty of, although it seemed to me that both players were pretty much equally guilty of it. But the referee gives Ivory Coast the free kick. Scotland's friendly record, as I mentioned earlier on, is pretty abysmal for as much as friendlies count. Do you worry about the result? But they've only won 3 of their last 18, and those came against Gibraltar, Luxembourg and Liechtenstein. So looking to try and improve upon that tonight as McTominay slips it to Christie about 30 yards from goal now. It's Adams on the edge of the box, thought about the pass to Hurst, instead it's to Robertson, back to Adams inside the box to the left hand side, tries to play it for Christie, but it's picked off, and Ivory Coast win possession back, but it's given straight to Tierney by Ulai. Again, it's the final ball, Stuart, isn't it?
Robbo could have flashed it across the goal. He decides to cut it back. It was not a bad ball to Adams. Adams could have got out his feet and had a shot, but again he tries to play a square pass, and it was a poor one.
Christie tries to slip a ball, and that's cut out as well, and Ivory Coast have got 4 on 4 here. Crossing the halfway line, it's Pepe, held up for the moment as Scotland again get bodies back as the national anthem rings round Hill Dickinson Stadium. Ivory Coast in possession, but 10 yards inside their own half, just over 10 to the break, and it's Ivory Coast leading by a Nicolas Pepe goal to nil. Singo has it right hand side for the West African side.
And you can talk about formations all you want, but if you can't look after the ball and pass the ball from A to B, then you're in trouble. And our last 10 minutes have been really poor in possession. Just keep giving it back to them.
Singo manages to squeeze that back to Diamondi. Now Singo once more from the right back position. Forward it goes to Wahi. Forward now comes Singo again, the Galatasaray fullback, getting into that attacking position, but across came Suter on that occasion to just knock the ball out of play in this near side for a throw into Ivory Coast, which Singo will come back and take. But it was a terrific goal he scored on Saturday, and he very much likes to join in with the attack when he can. He's about to take this throw in into the feet of Kessié, gets it back to Singo, tries the big switcher play now to Conan about 10 yards inside the Scotland half, but coming forward, out to the left it goes. Ivory Coast looking for a second, but Gilmore's nipped in to win the ball back for Scotland. Right hand side, he's got nowhere to go, and buys himself a free kick and gets Scotland up the park a little bit. Good play that from Gilmore, and sensible enough to know that he pretty much had to go down there because he was going to be dispossessed if he didn't. As Scotland take the free kick shot into Gilmore, it goes back to John Souttar on the edge of his own penalty area, and he'll just turn that back to his Rangers teammate Liam Kelly, playing for the second time for the national team. Only played 45 minutes in that debut against France, and I wonder if Steve Clarke will consider that again, maybe a half-time swap in goals, possibly giving him and Scott Bain.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention, that, Al, to be honest. I thought, I wonder if he'd do that for two 45s of the boys, yeah.
And free kick to Scotland on the halfway line as Hurst is brought to the floor. He's certainly a hard worker, isn't he, George Hurst? He'll give you plenty of endeavour trying to hold the ball up.
He started really well, and he's not had much of the ball of late. You know, the quality into the front's been poor in the last, as I say, 10-15 minutes.
Here's Tierney on the halfway line, forward to Adams, trying to play it on first time. It wasn't really on, and Ulai dispossesses him, then inslides Gilmore, and both players have stayed down. Play continues, it wasn't a foul, and the referee happy enough to let the game go on, although Ulai and Gilmore stay down. And now as you'll hear, the Scotland fans aren't delighted that the referee has now decided to stop play, but given that it's a friendly, and given that both players hadn't immediately got back to their feet, then probably fair enough. It was a full-blooded challenge from Gilmore after slack play from Adams again, Stuart.
Yeah, it's so frustrating watching it, because we're getting himself in, we're in the final third in decent possession of the ball, and Adams gives it away, and then Gilmore has to come in with a strong sliding challenge. As you say, it wasn't a free kick, they've both gone into each other. It was a good tackle,
and one you'd have enjoyed in your day.
Exactly.
Drop ball resumes play, Scotland in possession out to the left hand side. 7 minutes remaining in this first period, Scotland trailing by a goal to nil. Kieran Tierney has it about 10 yards inside his own half, plays it back into Hyam, who's been absolutely fine on his first international start. Out to the left hand side it comes to the captain Andy Robertson, who's got a good number of starts under his belt on his 92nd cap. Adams trying to spin away here from Singo, back the way to Robertson, midway inside the Ivory Coast half. Tierney takes over into Adams and out to McTominay in the angle of the box. Thought about trying to wriggle through a couple of players, but then plays it to Robertson, and now Tierney gets it back to Robertson. Good play, Robertson into the 6-yard box, great defending from Diamondi to knock it out in the end for a throw-in on this near side. It's a terrific inviting ball, lovely link-up play. That's what you often get between Tierney and Robertson. Tierney tries to get it back into the box, it comes off the back of an Ivory Coast shirt, and
it was a good link-up play. Adams looked after it, McTominay, Tierney, Robertson, good play, and then getting a good area. Typical Robertson, what he does well, whips it across the face, good defending by them, but better, more encouragement, look after the ball.
Gilmore for Tierney on the halfway line, back to Hyam, and quickly on to Souttar. John Souttar inside the centre circle, steps forward and then plays it out to the right to McCrory. Christie's out there as well. Christie plays it back to Hyam once more inside the centre circle. Up to the halfway line he comes, short ball for Gilmore. Now Tierney left hand side tries to clip that one up to Hurst. It's headed away, but Adams picks up. It's a good touch from him into Christie, quickly closed down, comes out to the left hand side where Hurst will gather, almost at the corner flag, tries to roll it back there to a teammate in Gilmore, but Ivory Coast had a couple of bodies lurking, and they've nicked it and tried to spring the counter, and it's going to come through. There's going to be an opportunity here perhaps for them to get the ball across goal, and it's picked up by Traore, who dinks it to the back post, and a good clearing, glancing header away from McCrory. Had to be aware that there was a man lurking behind him, and Scotland survived that little 40 forward from Ivory Coast and try and come forward again themselves now as we enter the final 5 minutes of the opening period, and Scotland trail by a goal to nil.
think the lad probably picked the wrong decision there. He went to cut it back. He was in goal shooting opportunity there. I'm glad he cut it back because the boy didn't make the most of it. But again, it come from us, Hurst giving the ball away in the top final third of the park when we had good possession.
There's Gilmore to the left hand side for Robertson, but 15 yards inside his own half. Back to Tierney, and then Robertson.
And there's one thing they certainly do well, is that when we do give it away, they break really quick. That's a strength of theirs.
Casey just stepping across Christie there. He's laid out there, Christie, hoping for a free kick, but it was a good strong challenge by Casey, who knew exactly what he was doing. But Scotland have won it back through Hurst inside his own half, plays it to McCrory at right wing back. Scotland fans, as you can hear, want them to go forward. They have done a fair bit of attacking in this first half, to be absolutely fair to them. Been more positive, more on the front foot than they were against Japan, as was a long diagonal played out to McCrory. I think he could have brought that under control there. He tried to play it first time to Adams, and it just drifts harmlessly behind for a goal kick. And it's the kind of night where people like Ross McCrory need to grasp this opportunity with both hands, because very much on the fringes of Steve Clarke's squad. But I know he's been linked with moves away from Bristol City because of his performances this season, Stuart, so clearly he's been in good form at club level, as McTominay slips over there and Ivory Coast try and make something of it. They're going to get a free kick for a block there by McCrory.
Yeah, I mean, Ross, to be fair to me, he's had a good couple of seasons down there, and he scored twice against us last game of the season. But he's on far too much for money for Preston to afford him, unfortunately. So he won't. But I think there is talk of him, possibly moving on, maybe another Championship club or abroad. I'm not too sure. But he's a really good pro. He gives everything he's got, dedicated to the game, and he's been a good signing for Bristol City over the years, definitely.
Ivory Coast have a free kick about 10 yards inside the Scotland half. Couple of minutes remaining in this first period. Played short into Ulai. Ulai plays it to Pepe, the goal scorer. Back the way now for Kusunu, but 10 yards inside his own half. Ulai comes short for it once more. Conan is all on his own out on that left hand side if they can switch it. Back with Kusunu though, and then over to the right hand side to Singo, who rolls it back to his goalkeeper. No particular hurry for Ivory Coast, who are in control in terms of the scoreline. 1-0 they lead, as Kusunu just got a little tug back there from Hurst. Play allowed to continue as Casey has it, clips it down the right hand side, watched by Tierney, gets his head to it, but it's going to be picked up by Wahi out to the right hand side. Singo tries the big switch of play out to the left flank, misread though by Toure, and didn't quite manage to keep that in after the miscontrol, and it's going to be a Scotland throw-in over on the far side as we enter the final minute of the opening 45. Don't imagine there'll be a great deal of added on time at the end of this. Scotland trail by a goal to 0 as Tierney picks up possession midway inside his own half, just plays it short back the way to Billy Gilmore. Gilmore looking for options ahead of him, not a great deal of movement, so he plays it square to Hyam. Hyam back to his left to Tierney, who bring it forward towards the halfway line and into the feet of Christie. He clips it forward looking for the run of George Hurst. Across comes Kusunu and just sees it behind. Good strong defending again. Decent idea from Christie looking for the run of George Hurst. You can see, despite the fact they made so many changes, Stuart, this is a team that didn't concede a goal in qualification in their 10 matches, and they're well drilled at the back, aren't they?
Yeah, super organisation, good talking. They look like you said, they look a strong defensive unit. But I don't mind that. Christie playing a ball forward like that. It was almost in Hurst. It was a forward run, forward thinking. Wasn't giving it away cheaply. It was a pass that with intent, which we almost got onto. But as I said, for the last 20-25 minutes, we haven't been good enough in possession, and that suits a counter-attacking team like these.
Pepe trying to wriggle through a number of challenges. In the end, he's thwarted, and Scotland have it back. We're into a minute of added on time. Scotland have perhaps an opportunity to break for one final time, but as Stuart's saying, the the passing has not been good enough in the last few moments, and Christie was the one guilty on that occasion of giving the ball away rather needlessly, and then he gives away a free kick and trying to retrieve it, and that will largely be that, I would imagine, for this opening half, as Ivory Coast take their time over the free kick here, just inside their own half. Forward will come Kusunu to take it. Plays it short to Singo. Singo rolls it back to his goalkeeper, and the referee indicates the end of the first half. A first half which Scotland started brightly enough, definitely playing more positively than they had done against Japan on Saturday. Christie had a shot well saved after just a couple of minutes, but despite that bright start from the Scots, it was their opponents who opened the scoring on the counter-attack after a Scotland opportunity had come to nothing. Wahi broke and got the shot off on the turn. It came back off the post, denying him a debut goal, but Nicola Pepe was lively and alert enough to tap in the rebound from a yard or two out to give Ivory Coast the advantage. Beyond that, Scotland still were playing plenty of football in the Ivory Coast half, but without really threatening Albon Lafont in the Ivory Coast goal until just beyond the half-hour mark, when McTominay fashioned room for a shot just outside the box, and it was well tipped round the post by the keeper. That's as much as he's had to do really at the other end. Diamonde had a good chance, broke his way inside the box, but he couldn't get power or precision on the shot, and it was comfortably saved by Liam Kelly. And so, with all that said, at half time from Hill Dickinson Stadium, it's Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0.
Scotland, the national team.
Goal Scotland!
Live on Sports Sound
from BBC Radio Scotland. The Saturday Show with Amy Irons and Stephen Mill.
A lot of people have been feeling very passionate about this. Seagulls.
Mark, have you had any run-ins with seagulls?
At night when I'm driving back for a gig, there's always about 40 seagulls. They're just sitting at this one petrol station. Like, you're scared to leave the car.
Did they ask you to buy fags in the petrol station?
Alan, can you please tell us why you are our Saturday VIP?
I am the winner of the checkout competition.
Please place your items in the bagging area.
Listen to The Saturday Show, Saturday at 9 a.m. on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Andy Burke. Half-time in this international friendly at the Hill Dickinson Stadium in Liverpool, and it's Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0. Nicolas Pepe with the goal 12 minutes in. Scotland caught on the counter-attack, and it's the African side that leads at the break. Alistair Lamont and Stuart McCall have been describing the first half action. Willie Miller, Leanne Crichton and Tom English are alongside me in the studio. And Leanne, we said we wanted a more open game. Certainly the first half of the first half was pretty much in that fashion, but Scotland a goal down at the break.
Yeah, look, it started off a much more energetic performance. High energy, much more aggression in the final third. I think the bit that was lacking at Hampden on Saturday was, for me, around the press and going and getting after the ball, putting Ivory Coast certainly tonight under more pressure than they put Japan on Saturday. Won the ball back in higher areas of the pitch, had some real good numbers in that final kind of middle to final third to try and sustain attacks. Created a couple of half chances, but the game is wide open. That's the reality. I think you look at the goal and the goal conceded, too many bodies piling forward, your wing backs both gone at the same time, transitional moments in the middle of the pitch, teams coming right through the heart of you, not recovering quick enough, and then Scotland were punished ultimately. But I would say it's been an improved performance, I think, based on whether that's just purely down to the shape and the height of the team, or the personnel and how they've gone about it, or just the change in the opposition that you're playing as well. I don't really know, but certainly it's been a better watch, I would say.
Yeah, Tom, we're in the warmth of the studio here. We're just watching our BBC TV colleagues getting soaked by the sprinklers down at the Hill Dickinson Stadium.
Marvellous, isn't
it? What did you make of Scotland? I think Leanne mentioned it. There was a bit more intent and energy about Scotland in those early stages, but they get caught out with a bad goal.
Yeah, there was. They started really well. Started on the front foot, a bit of aggression, bit of intent, good pressing game, a lot of urgency. Great, all the things that were missing on Saturday. But their use of the ball has been poor. They've been giving it away too often. Billy Gilmore, I think, has been the chief culprit, which is surprising given he's probably the best user of a ball normally in the Scotland team. He's given it away a number of times, given it away twice in about 10 seconds at one stage. And then the goal, and there's so many things wrong with the goal. Like, it comes off a counter off a good Scotland attack, and then they go down the left, acres of space, they bring it over to the right, and nobody picks up Pepe. Like, Billy Gilmore is on Pepe and then just lets him run. He just lets him run, doesn't track him. Tierney doesn't notice him, and then the ball's rolling towards the post. Liam Kelly thinks the ball's going in the back of the net, and just
he freezes. Yeah,
and he freezes. And then by the time when it comes off the post, then he reacts too late. Pepe's there on his own. Loads of Scottish. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 Scotland defenders in or around the 6-yard box, plus the goalkeeper, and Pepe wins. I mean, it's a terrible.
You're looking
goal.
at the rerun there, Tom. It ends up a 6v4 inside the penalty area. It comes from a shot on target at the other end of the pitch, and it's a full transitional moment, literally from one goal to the opposite end. But Ross McCrory's on the edge of the penalty area, and Andy Robertson's halfway beyond the halfway line at the point the ball comes back through it. But I think the urgency to find a recovery and a defensive structure behind the ball, to delay, to allow your teammates to get back into pressure in the ball, to stop the shot on goal, and then to react to obviously the ball coming back off the post, just not good enough. And I think you can look at it and go, thankfully that's a friendly game.
Yeah.
Because if you concede that type of goal in a competitive match, you'd be absolutely furious with the energy and enthusiasm shown to defend your goal.
I mean, I'm looking at just looking at it, and the way Pepe just runs off Billy Gilmore, and Billy Gilmore just gives up. He just gives up. I think that's awful. That's awful from Gilmore.
Yeah.
Tierney is too slow to react as well. He sees Pepe on the edge of the 6-yard box. He doesn't move towards him because maybe he thinks the ball is going in the back of the net as well. And it's just too slow to react. Lazy from Gilmore. And Kelly is just misjudged it. It's a really poor goal. It doesn't say a lot for the mindset of that group of Scotland players, I have to say.
See, for me, I think Tierney is a natural defender, and he should have an instinct. I feel, and you know, when the player gets in behind him, why he gets in behind him, then you know you've got a problem. You know, and then I think it's Hyam that's dragged out, and it's a quick. I don't think I know what you're saying, Tom, about you know, Gilmour switching off, but I think Gilmour's out of position on the attack actually, because you need one of the three midfield players.
As soon as the keeper throws, they look like they're in trouble.
So he's run. His mind is he's got to go 80 yards to get back there, and by that time I don't think he's actually thinking properly. For me, it's Tierney, and Tierney switches off as well when Pepe runs past him. He just switches off. So they're caught out of position. Yeah. You know, I think Gilmour's got a part to play in it, but I can understand why he isn't thinking about it. Plus, is that his job? I mean, we've got three centre backs.
But look at that. Look at that.
All over the place.
But look at that.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Tom. But see, if you go back, if you rewind that, sorry, Tom's showing me a replay of the goal. But I'm trying to say, if you go back, Gilmour's running from just outside their box all the way back.
Yeah.
We've still got three defenders back the park, so you're totally exposed in the midfield. So you've got three midfield players totally out of position. Gilmour's really the only one that's making an effort to get back the park. I think Tierney should know that the danger is in behind him, and when it's Wahi that makes the run in behind him, he doesn't see it. And then for me, I think Tierney should have the instinct. Where's the next danger going to be? And it should be him that's picking up Pepe.
Well,
that's just my opinion.
I think there's a lot of blame to go around, right? But when when Pepe plays it to Wahi, Tierney's moving towards Wahi. Gilmour can see that Tierney's moving towards Wahi, and he can see there's a big gap. And Pepe runs into the gap, and Gilmour doesn't follow him. And he knows that Tierney's in the wrong position, but he just gives up.
But that's what I'm saying.
To be fair, I think Gilmour probably thinks the first shot's going in all honesty. I think as a midfielder looking at that, and you're standing looking, facing the goal.
He's knackered as well, do you know?
But Pepe's away, but even before or just as Wahi is playing the ball in, Pepe's away from Gilmour already. He's away from Gilmour already. So he doesn't.
Where is Tierney though? See, Tierney's in no man's land. Tierney allows Wahi to run behind him. He runs behind him. He comes for a centre. He runs behind him. Yeah. If Tierney drops back a little bit and he doesn't allow that run in behind him, then the shot isn't on to hit the post in the first place. And then when he sees him, Wahi getting in behind him, he turns round and he switches off.
No,
he switches off.
Listen, I mean,
and it comes off the post. And
right for the shot at the other end.
They're all over the place.
There's not good structure behind the ball. And that's the difficulty when you flip-flop between formations and systems as well. At no point with a back five in possession are you staying with a back five. That's what it is tonight. But you can't be left 3 for 3 in the back line, and that's what it looked like as the ball was
both
thrown
your
out.
wing backs up.
Gilmour's then recovering. The 3 centre backs were literally 3 for 3. None of them could go and engage with the ball, because as soon as you jump and engage, you've stepped out beyond that back 3. Robertson's too high in the game to recover. McCrory was too high in the game to recover. You don't have Gilmour protecting in front, so the team was wide open. That's why it's so important when you get those amount of bodies. The ball cannot land in the goalkeeper's hands. It needs to go over the bar. It needs to result in a goal kick. Worst case scenario, it cannot become a transitional moment.
I mean, on this, Tierney makes a bad decision. He makes a bad decision. He's not defensively aware enough.
Yeah.
But Gilmour just gives up.
Yeah.
Tierney didn't give up. He just got caught and he made a bad call.
Well,
Gilmour sees Pepe running away and he does nothing about it.
Tierney's a natural defender. Tierney's an experienced player. Tierney should know where the danger's going to come from.
Of course you should, but doesn't
for me the problem starts, I would say, 25 yards outside their box. That's where the problem starts. The two wing backs forward and even Gilmour forward, and the other 2 midfield players, they're not defenders anyway. They're away forward, and there's a huge gap for Ivory Coast to take advantage of. And then when at least Gilmour's making in the case of Gilmour and Gilmour's defence, Tom, at least he's making an effort to get back the park,
and then he stops.
And what he should do, he should actually be deeper.
Oh, you're a hard man to please.
When the two,
I just think it's terrible from him.
No, when the two wing backs go forward, you need somebody in the midfield to be sitting as a safety valve, and none of them did it. And that's where I think Gilmour made the mistake, was he was too far forward. And I take your point, if he'd have switched on, perhaps, but for me, I think Kieran Tierney, with his experience and his defensive qualities and his instincts, could have done much better.
There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt
Tom,
about can I just say something,
Sorry,
Tom?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Just to make sure you're not on the fence, so it's Gilmour's fault.
I think in the sliding scale of blame, sure, I would have Gilmour first.
You leave
second.
Well, we can't see it at the moment, but you leave the midfielders out of it. If Willie's saying it's a centre half's fault, it's a centre half's fault. That'll do me.
I should just accept that, really, shouldn't I? I should from the great man.
Well, Stuart, I wonder if Steve Clarke might be tempted after the game to say, there was a lot of people after the Japan game saying Scotland need to show a bit more ambition, a bit more adventure, but against good teams, if you don't get it right, this is what 100%. Can happen.
Exactly. And I was saying that before the game. As fans, and as after what happened Saturday, we want the team to go out and show a bit more excitement and get forward. But as a manager, you always got to know what's happening at the back, and you've got to be. And Steve's that type of manager, he does shut the door and keep people back and whatever it is. But the intent's been so good. But the quality in the last 30 minutes is we've been giving the ball away up so cheap, and it suits their counter-attacking. And you can see, obviously, we're in a great position here. We're really high up. As soon as the keeper catches it, the counter's on, the boy's on his bike, and it is a 3v. In fact, it's even a 4v3 straight away. And I mean, Gilmore's not got great legs to get back in. He's getting back as he can. The wing backs, as you say, are already forward because it's been that intent. We want to go and score a goal and get at them. But their counter-attack play was good. But I take all your points again. We haven't seen it back, but it seemed to be too easy for him to get a shot off and then no reaction once it hits a post.
But the intent is good, isn't it, Stuart? There is an ambition which they probably didn't have at the weekend. And I know, like, with ambition comes risk. But the counter-attack, there's five Scotland defenders plus the goalkeeper in the penalty area when the goal is scored. So there's enough bodies there to deal with the situation. They just make bad decisions.
He's not getting over this goal, is he?
No.
I know I'm not, because I'm really
the worst goal that anybody's ever conceded.
It's not a good goal
in Tom's mind.
It's just interesting whatever way you want to shape the narrative, because probably if you look at the game on Saturday against Japan, there was more control in the game. With it having,
and we were level at half time.
And we were level, and we're sitting here going, great, much better, real intent. Losing 1-0 probably could have been 2 or 3 down again based on transitional moments. Teams wide open, can run through the heart of us. Gave the ball away for fun in the final third. Misplaced passes galore, passes under hit, passes over hit. Look, what do we want as Scotland fans watching this? Do we want a team that are competitive?
I think you want the quality though, Leanne, don't you? I think the energy's been good. Taking it to the opposition's been good, but you've got to have a bit of quality. You've got to be able to pass to your teammates. I mean, for me, dull as dishwash with water, and at the weekend, Scotland were in the first half. At least there's an attempt to entertain, go forward and cause the opposition problems, but their issue is that every time they get in a position they give the ball away, then they're totally open to the counter.
Well, I enjoyed the first 15 minutes more than I enjoyed the whole 90 minutes.
I agree with you.
Honestly, watching
I agree with you.
I was enjoying it, but that comes with then, we're getting bodies in the box, we're playing on the front foot, and the first 15 minutes we were taking it off them, and then they got a bit of control, started passing it, and then we went from looking okay on the ball to coming. It brought me back to my time when I had my boots on. Honestly, I couldn't pass it from A to B. It was, but they're going to be better this half, I'm telling you now.
Good stuff. Right, I'm sure we will discuss that goal even further at full time, but the teams are back out in the field. Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0. Can Scotland turn this round in the second half? Let's find out with our commentary team, Stuart McCall and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks again, Andy. Scotland are back out and they made a couple of changes at half time, including one in goal, and it's Scott Bain who comes on for his first appearance in a Scotland jersey since 24th of March 2019 when he turned out against San Marino. It's a 4th cap for the Falkirk keeper, and he comes on along with Lewis Ferguson, who replaces Scott McTominay, and of course Scott Bain replacing Liam Kelly, who started the match in goal. So we did pontificate about that, Stuart, as to whether there might be a change in goal at half time, giving the other goalkeeper a shot, and indeed Scott Bain gets his reward for, although he's maybe not been his absolute best in the last couple of weeks, he's had a terrific season for Falkirk, and it's great recognition for him and the club.
Yeah, that's right. I think we sort of guessed that, didn't we? We thought we might give them both 45 minutes. Obviously Liam Whitby, his first touch, he kicked out of play, didn't get off to a great start, but after that he's not had hardly anything to do, and once you're getting your 45 minutes like Bernie now, he'll want to be worked, he'll want to have saves to make, he'll want to impress. Hopefully that won't be the case, and we'll be up the other end, but it's something I thought would happen, to be honest.
And in terms of the other change, Lewis Ferguson coming on, obviously he started the other night, and McTominay was fine, he was decent, but we know what he can do, so there's nothing massively to be gained by asking him to play another 90 minutes, but Lewis Ferguson comes on in his place. Just looking at the Ivory Coast side coming back out, I'm desperately hoping there's not going to be a massive raft of changes from them, although I did hear the stadium announcer mercifully saying that there was a limit of 6 substitutes per side, which was music to my ears, I have to say, after Japan replaced their entire outfield team during the second half on Saturday, which was spent most of the second half trying to get them organised. But anyway, no changes from Ivory Coast, and we're back off and running as Ivory Coast to kick us off, and they'll go from right to left as we look at it from our vantage point high up in this stand in a terrific stadium. Back to the goalkeeper it goes from Ivory Coast. That's going to be cut out, I think, by Christie, and it's going to fall for Adams. And now Gilmore out to Christie, right hand side, back to McCrory, and now Suter gets involved. Might have to get involved again as Ivory Coast threaten to steal it back. He's been fouled, and it will be a free kick after the challenge there of Traore. He's a player you said, I think you had him at Sheffield United, Stuart?
Yeah, we did. I think at the time Reds and Celtic were looking at him in a close season, and I think we paid 3 million for him, but we'd just gone into the Premier League and it was too big a step for him. I think he could do it in Championship. I think he's doing well. I think he's got 8 goals in the Swiss League now.
He's with Basel now, yeah.
Yeah, great kid, really lively, good touch, but I say, once that step to the Premier League is huge, I've got to say. And he was up against some athletes, and he's only a small frame, but he's quick, he's got good touch, and I think he's had a good half, if I'm honest.
Scotland have it, trailing by a goal to nil at the start of this second period, and it's back with Scott Bain, Paul Falkirk. What a big night for him on his 4th international appearance, but first for 7 years. As Tierney has it just inside his own half, out to the left flank to Robertson, and then back with Tierney once more. There was some good link up between those two at left centre back and left wing back in the first period, and that's the avenue that Scotland are trying to pursue down that left hand side now. But George Hurst it was actually out on that far side trying to make some headway, and it looked like the ball had come off an Ivory Coast player and out for a throw into Scotland, but the referee initially, I thought he was changing his mind there, but no, he's just asking Singo to go back a bit. He's given the throw into Ivory Coast, but they're giving it away to Robertson, but then Singo steps back in and wins it back, flicked on by Wahi, who was involved in that opening and only goal, as Ferguson's done well. The referee's brought it back, is he? He's given a free kick to Ivory Coast for the challenge by Ferguson. There didn't seem to be a great deal wrong with the challenge on Uli there.
No, he ummed and ahed. He wasn't going to give it, and then he saw the boy lying on the ground. I think he thought it was a head knock. I think that's a poor decision.
We're going to get another look at it here just now.
Maybe does catch him, to be honest, Ferguson,
but not
accidentally.
Yeah.
But and again, I'm not even sure if it is a foul, but it does.
They're both jumping for the ball, and it's his arm, I think, that catches him in.
But he was in 2 minds, the referee.
I
don't know if it was the linesman on the far side that actually maybe spoke to him, as they do these days. But everyone's okay and ready to go again.
Free kick then to Ivory Coast just inside their own half, played out to this near side to Conan, who'll pick it up once more from Toure, and then back the way to Diamonde and all the way back to the goalkeeper. Scotland certainly had, looking at the half-time stats, they had more shots and more shots on target than Ivory Coast, but they trail by a goal to nil. They're tenacious in the midfield there, and that should have been an Ivory Coast free kick, and this time the referee doesn't give it, and Pepe is somewhat bemused by that decision. He stayed down, but Scotland building, and it's Ferguson getting it from Robertson. I'm not sure why Pepe's still down. I don't think he's injured, but he's still on the deck, maybe hoping the referee is going to eventually stop play for his benefit, but Scotland still have it, and the referee's allowing play to continue, and it's into Christie, and he didn't quite get there. Diamonde again stepping in, and then McCrory slides in, and it will be a Scotland throw-in, and Pepe's still down, slowly thinking about getting himself back to his feet. I thought he should have had the free kick there in the midfield earlier.
It was a free kick, but it's an embarrassment what he's doing now, lying on the ground and then getting up and walking. See, the modern day football, this is one of the worst parts I hear about it. People aren't injured and they just go down, and it's not the way it should be.
Scotland have it 10 yards inside their own half. It's Suter, right hand side, into Gilmour, plays a lovely ball round the corner for Christie. Christie has got goal side there of Ulai, who, well, on another day that'd be a certain yellow card if it was a competitive match. I'm not sure the referee is going to dish that out, but Christie had got goal side of him, and Ulai tried to come round the side of him but took him down, Christie, and Scotland get a free kick in a decent position. This just a few yards in from the right flank, about 25 yards maybe from the goal line.
Yeah, and everyone will say, oh, what a good ball by Gilmour, which it was, but you only get a good ball if you get a good run. If Christie stands still, then it's not a good one. So a forwards run, which you need, and then a good pass, again, an attacking intent.
An opportunity here then for Andy Robertson, who's come all the way across to the right hand side to deliver this free kick. 50 minutes in, Scotland trailing by a goal to nil, but a chance here to draw themselves level if there's a good ball in here from the skipper. And his 90-second cap sends it in towards the back post area. It's well won by an Ivory Coast head, but at the expense of a corner, as the ball is thumped almost into the top tier, which would take some doing in this stadium. It doesn't quite make it. Anyway, Scotland will have a corner kick over on the far side. Scotland left to be taken by Gilmour as they search for an equaliser here. Ivory Coast got plenty bodies back inside that 6-yard box as it's sent in, and a chance here for Hurst to try and get something on it. Couldn't force it goalwards. High in the air, knocked back, and an opportunity, and a good save, good brave goalkeeping there from Lafont to push it away before Scotland could pounce it. I think it was Hurst that got closest to it, but now Ivory Coast have a free kick on the halfway line. But that was an opportunity for Scotland, but you have to credit Lafont for getting down and pushing that away from danger.
Yeah, I mean, they've defended the two. They've defended Andy Robertson's a good free kick. Defended that well, got it out. The corner comes in. Again, it's bobbling about. I think it was their boy actually headed it back towards the keeper, and the keeper's brave, and he comes out and parries it before we can jump on it. But again, like the first half, a better start from Scotland.
Yeah, for sure. Ball's played forward though for Toure. Held up for now, but Kessié gets it moving. And now it's Pepe, midway inside the Scotland half, out to the right hand side for Singo. Up against Robertson here, tries to clip it in to the near post. A good ball and an opportunity here, and it's hacked away by Billy Gilmour from inside his own 6-yard box. Almost fell for Wahi there, but he just couldn't get a clean strike away, and Scotland survived. But that was a real scare there for a moment.
Again, a lovely little ball by Traore, cuts it back, and as you say, the boy nearly gets onto it.
Scotland have it left hand side. Strong challenge there on an unfair one, and despite the claims there of Singo that he took the ball, the referee's having none of it, and Andy Robertson wins the free kick for his side on the halfway line, almost straight out on that left flank. Still 1-0 Ivory Coast, 53 minutes on the clock, but credit to Scotland for a more adventurous style of play here this evening, despite the 1-goal deficit. Out they come to the right hand side, and it's McCrory into the feet of Christie, tries to keep a hold of the ball under real pressure there from Toure, and loses out, and Ivory Coast can try and build down the left hand side. Toure knocks it all the way back though to Diamonde, the centre back on the left hand side, brings it up towards the halfway line and into the feet of Kessié. Back with Diamonde, who plays it square to his central defensive partner Cousineau forward to Pepe, the man who scored the only goal of the game after 12 minutes. I think we got to the bottom of who was at fault in the Scotland ranks for that at half time, as Ulai picks up possession and knocks it all the way back to his goalkeeper from the halfway line. Again, the Scotland fans try and get behind their team. Cacophony of noise in this wonderful stadium as Suter plays it back to Scott Bain, who's been largely untroubled. There was a little bit of a scare just a few moments ago that Gilmour managed to clear his lines before Bain was called into action, and so it's still 1-0 to Ivory Coast, who technically are the home team this evening, despite being far from home. Here's Hyam, just outside his own penalty area, bringing it forward and then playing it to his right to Suter. Back infield to Gilmour, who's just dropped into that quarterback position, plays it out to Gilmore left hand side, and now Robertson back to Tierney once more, midway inside his own half again. Gilmore drops in, takes the ball, then he tries to go a little bit longer, a bit more direct up towards Hurst. Neither he nor Kusunu get anything on that, and it's all the way through to Lafont. 55 minutes played, still 1-0 Ivory Coast.
Time to go lock on now, man for man. Go press, and then see if you can win the ball back.
Ivory Coast holding on to it for now. Kessié though tempted into a speculative ball forward, but in the end Ferguson just knocks it out of play over on the far side. It'll be an Ivory Coast throw-in.
I think when the keeper's got it, and if we come off and let them play and start building, they're obviously talented and they move the ball really well. But there's times when it does go back to the keeper. If we lock on one for man, we can win it back off them high up the park and hopefully create chances from there.
Throw in into the middle of the park for Traore, who sweeps it forward down the right hand side for Ivory Coast. Scotland pick up momentarily, but Tierney's given it away, and that's good footwork across there by Pepe. That looks offside. Why he's in on goal here? He's allowed to continue. Plays it square. McCrory can't cut it out. Chance here. Can Scotland recover and get it clear? Good calm defending from John Suter. Yeah, it's going to be pulled back for the offside in the end. I was pretty sure it was when Wahi was played in, but because VAR is in operation, they were allowed to continue. But in the end, as it came to nothing, the assistant's flag went up.
Yeah, we're right in line with that. We knew it was offside by a yard. Good break by them again, but well offside, and we have to wait 10 seconds for it to be given, unfortunately.
Suter into Christie, nice little popped off pass to Gilmore, and he gets it back, tries to thread it through for Adams, and that doesn't quite come off Diamonde in the way, but he's given it back to Tierney, and out to the left hand side for Robertson into Adams, about 25-30 from goal, spins and plays it out to McCrory right hand side. Scotland getting bodies in the box. McCrory feeds it in, good header from Hurst, off target though, but he won it really well, and he tried to direct it goalwards, just couldn't find the target, but good move that from Scotland. McCrory's ball in was a good searching one, and the big striker just off target, Stuart.
Yeah, he's about 14 yards from goal. It'd have to be some header from there. Get a ball in the box, maybe from not a great position, a bit deep, get McCrory a bit higher and get in behind him, but at least it's an attempt on goal.
Yeah, George Hurst though.
This is the time now. This is the time we need to go really tight and high and be brave. There you go. Oh, Billy.
Gilmore almost had it there, but had his pocket picked, and now Robertson's had the same done to him by Singo, but that's a good challenge from Tierney, and now Scotland can counter, and it's Robertson leading it out to Tierney, left hand side of the box. Can he pick out a pass? It's well defended by Kusunu. This Ivory Coast defence is just watertight, you have to say, and Scotland cannot find a way through them. 57, almost 58 on the clock, and it's still 1-0 Ivory Coast, looking to make it 2. Here's a decent ball into the box, but into the 6-yard box it goes, and Scott Bain dives on the ball and immediately bowls it out to Lewis Ferguson, who broke forward down the left hand side. It's still a very open game, chances at either end, but as I say, that Ivory Coast backline, they just do not want to give a goal away, regardless of it being a friendly, as McCrory has it right hand side, just inside the Ivory Coast half, back to Suter, and now it's Dom Hyam to Tierney left hand side, and now further left is Robertson into the middle of the park here for Gilmore, and Gilmore out. It's a good ball. It's a chance for Scotland to try and build something here. Pass goes astray, and it's hooked clear there by Touré, but only as far as Tierney left hand side, midway inside the Ivory Coast half. Plays it into Robertson. Robertson gets a chance to turn. He sends it into the box, going up there with Shea Adams, but he couldn't get the clean header in under pressure from Kona, and it's an easy save for the goalkeeper. But there are things to like in this Scotland performance, Stuart. 1-0 Ivory Coast still.
A nice little passage of play down the left hand side again there, and the ball in the box. Still think they've got to cross it from better positions, but again it's an intent that we want to go and look towards putting pressure on their defenders, who, as you say, are defending really well. They look really solid and organised and committed, physically strong.
Yeah, I don't think this is even necessarily their first choice. I mean, Kusunu probably is, but Diamonde, for instance, maybe not necessarily the first choice at left centre back, but nonetheless they look like they're a well-drilled unit. They all know what their jobs are and they're sticking to them. Still just 1-0. Scotland very much in this. They're probably the better of the second half, Scotland, I would say, so far in the opening 15 minutes of it. That's us just beyond the hour mark. 1-0 the Scots trail. The goal came in 12 minutes for Nicola Pepe. You listen to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland as we continue our wall-to-wall coverage of Scotland on the road to the USA in the summer. Ivory Coast will join them there. They play an opening match against Ecuador the very same day Scotland take on Haiti. They've also got Germany and Curaçao in the group, so they, like Scotland, will hope to advance from the group stage for the very first time, as we get our first couple of changes here for Ivory Coast. Who's coming on? It's going to be Emmanuel Agbadou and Gela Doué who come on. Off's coming the man I was just talking about, Ousmane Diamonde. So Agbadou will go in there at centre back, and then Doué is going to come on as well, brother of Desiree Doué. Conan is the player being replaced by Doué. As play resumes, and McCrory's gone off. Is that Nathan Patterson's come on for him? So both sides making changes there, and Scotland continue here in possession. Right hand side is Suter. He gets it back from Hyam, and now Hurst drops pretty deep, and Patterson played a lovely little ball there, but just gone out of play as he linked there with Christie. His manager Davy Moyes just saw a shot of him in the stand. He'll be hoping to see a good display from Patterson, who looked a little bit rusty. I thought he hasn't played an awful lot of football when he started against an opportunity here. As Hurst picks up, and he's ridden one challenge, and he's driven the ball over the crossbar. It really opened up for George Hurst. He did so well to get the better of the first challenge, but then struck it on his left foot, and it was high over the crossbar. It remains after 62 minutes. Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0.
Yeah, it was a big mistake by them from the throw straight to Hurst. Does well, takes his man on, but then didn't get over the ball on his left foot from probably about 22 yards out. But yeah, poor mistake by them.
I just wonder, could he have taken it on a little bit further? Did he need to take it just when he did?
Possibly could have took it a bit further, yeah. Stepped in a little bit more.
Yeah, just looked slightly off balance when he struck that. It's a handball being given in Scotland's favour. Free kick. Toure guilty of that. Scotland still searching for an equaliser. 63 minutes in, it's 1-0 they trail as Patterson plays it back the way to Suter. Out to the left hand side now for Tierney. Was able to drive forward a few yards, then play it out to the left hand side to Robertson, and then Ferguson gets it to Suter just inside Ivory Coast territory. Out to Patterson right hand side, back to Suter once more, and then into Hyam, who's the furthest man back for Scotland, but he's in the Ivory Coast half. So still that attacking intent from Scotland, trying to keep Ivory Coast hemmed in as Suter has it, and then gets it back from Patterson, back to the halfway line again from the Scots.
This when it becomes difficult, when they've dropped into the low block. We end up going back to the keeper from the halfway line. Be a bit brave, step in Suter, go and commit people.
There's Gilmore, who's certainly brave on the ball.
That's good football, good football.
Here he is once more for Christie. He tries to help it on for Patterson, but it was cut out and knocked out for a throw-in.
Trying to play the ball a little bit quicker, a bit more tempo. Far better side when they do that.
It's one back though, but Scotland have it once more, not for long. The referee getting in the way there. Didn't do Ivory Coast any favours, but he's given them a free kick for seemingly very little. Maybe against himself, but it's
a good tackle.
Free kick Ivory Coast then. Kessié plays it back the way. It's Kusunu out to the right hand side. Singo will do well to keep that, and he has done though. It's a lovely little bit of play to lift it over. Tierney, still he's driving forward. Singo, this is what he did on Saturday, and it comes to the left hand side and it's closed down in the end as Toure got the shot away and blocked behind for an Ivory Coast corner. They do look incredibly threatening every time they counter like that.
It was really good play by the right back. Tierney's gone tight, he's just taken it over his head and drove from there, and it's a long way back for Kieran, and the boy's powerful, athletic, drove on with it well. Thankfully it didn't come to anything, but now they've got a corner.
It's a good player. Amad Diallo is going to be coming on just shortly, which doesn't sound like good news for Scotland. It's become a really good, important player for Man United as Pepe takes this corner from the left hand side. It's a good ball, the header should have been on target. It's over the top. That is a real chance for the substitute Doué from 6 yards out.
I think it's right in the 6 yard box, isn't it?
Centre goal.
Right,
he gets a clean header at that. He's got to be testing the goalkeeper there, Stuart.
Yeah, Hyam gets under it, I think. Free header, yeah, disappointing. See a look at that. That's not going to be giving chances away from set pieces as easy as that. The boy should do better. Should certainly hit the target anyway.
Yeah, it's a let off for Scotland, who might well have been 2 goals behind there. Had Doué done better with that header. A couple of changes about to be made with Diallo, as I say, and also Simon Adingra, who's another terrific player for in that Ivory Coast squad. Here they come as Singo into the box. Hyam's header has got enough on it to allow Christie to pick up, but he's given it away in a dangerous area. Now Ivory Coast will come again. They don't need a great deal of encouragement as they've slowed it down now though, and Toure will go back the way to the substitute Agbadou.
I like Ryan Christie a lot, but I think it's been one of his poorest games probably in a Scotland shirt tonight. Everything he seems to have done has not come off. He's given the ball away too many times, unfortunately.
Still 1-0 Ivory Coast. Plays 67 minutes, just short of the midway point in this second half as forward they come once more with Pepe. Good challenge. Ferguson then goes in and wins the second one. Real good strength from the Bologna midfielder. Short of options ahead of him though, and he has to turn back the way. You can hear the annoyance of the Scotland fans who want it to be played forward. Now Gilmour does that, but it's a much more ambitious one. Christie can't get there, and it's picked up in the middle of the park by Ulai as Diallo and Adingra still wait to come on.
It's probably time to energise the team, Hal, to be honest. There's looking a few leggy. They've done a lot of recovery running after they've been hitting us on the counter-attack, so I think fresh legs needed.
Ivory Coast trying to switch the play there, but pass was overcooked and it's out for a throw into Scotland, which will allow the changes to be made for Ivory Coast. And Traore is one of the players who's going to make way, as is the goal scorer Pepe. As on come Adingra and Diallo. Adingra is actually out on loan now, Monaco from Sunderland.
It's a nice warm welcome for the Manchester United player there.
There's so much love for Manchester United in these parts, isn't there? And a couple of Scotland changes as well. Gilmour being replaced by Kenny McLean. The other one is going to see John McGinn come on for Christie. So the changes are coming thick and fast now. As you say, time to energise the side. Let's see what they can do in the closing 20 minutes or thereabouts as they trail by a goal to nil. They've got themselves a free kick midway inside the Ivory Coast half. And a chance for Scotland to throw the centre backs forward, try and get on the end of this and try and break down this doughty Ivory Coast defence. As Pepe, you see, taking the congratulations of his teammates as he gets a rest. Here's Andy Robertson then over the free kick. Let's see what he can produce here. It's just left of centre. It's a good position from which to try and get a decent ball into the box here.
Could be ball down the side for Adams. It could be whipped in.
Let's see, Ivory Coast keeping their line about 18 yards out into the back post area. Ferguson gets something on it. Came off an Ivory Coast defender last, and it will be a corner as the Tartan Army rouse themselves and try and rouse the team once again to find the equalising goal. Steve Clark looking pensive on the bench there alongside Stephen Naismith, another former Everton man, as Robertson stands over the corner kick on the right hand side, left footed, swings it into the 6-yard box, well punched clear.
Just going to say, we're going to have to be careful.
Yeah, we are going to have to be careful. Here they come on the counter as his keeper got a good punch and it slipped through here for Wahi. Patterson trying to hold him up, but he's made a good challenge. It wasn't a great pass from Wahi as he looked for Diallo, but Patterson did what he had to do.
They left 2v1 on the edge of the box there. If they were going to win it with the header or a keeper's punch, they were always going to attack and break from there. Unfortunately, that's what happened.
There's a minute's applause here in the 71st minute for a member of the Tartan Army who sadly passed away over the weekend, John the Rocker Allison. He was, by all accounts, a much loved and well known face in the Tartan Army, and our thoughts with his family and friends over his sad loss, but acknowledged here by his fellow Scotland fans at Hill Dickinson Stadium. Ivory Coast looking to build down the left hand side. We've got about 18 minutes left of the 90. Still Ivory Coast leading by a goal to nil. Diallo getting involved here. It's Kessié out to the left hand side for Toure. Now it's Adingra. A bit of a roving role has Adingra, as Ivory Coast knock the ball about quite calmly and assuredly. Diallo out to Singo. Scotland can't get near the ball just at the moment as it's played to Agbadou here in that left centre back role now. Toure in field. Kessié hard to get off the ball, much as Kenny McLean's trying to stick tight to him, and he gets the pass off there and allows Ivory Coast to come forward down the right hand side. Now it's Diallo cutting in off that right flank onto the left foot. Can he find room for the shot? Instead it's the pass for Adingra, who'll come in on the right foot and tries to curl one towards the top corner, but he got that all wrong. The man on loan from Sunderland at Monaco, former Brighton man, a very talented player. They've got such a wealth of talent in that squad, Stuart.
Yeah, Adingra was really good at Brighton. I thought he was a top talent. And obviously little boy Diallo, who was on loan at Rangers for one of his first loans, and I don't think anyone could have forced it. At that time I think it was his first loan. It wasn't a great loan for him, but it had been good for his experience, because he certainly turned into a terrific player.
Yeah, he's really flourished in the last year or so, initially under Ruben Amorim, and still in the current Man U setup, as Patterson plays it into McGinn on the halfway line. Square it goes to Tierney. Scotland still trail by a goal to nil. They have done since the 12th minute. Performance has been decent in patches. Maybe possession could be better. Accuracy of passes. Here's McGinn. Adams making a run, or beginning to, but McGinn thinks better of that pass and plays it back to Suter. And now it's Hyam out to the right hand side for Patterson. Patterson clips the ball down the right. Cross will come. Hurst to try and do something. He's just knocked out the play there by Agbadou, taking no chances. Scotland have the throw in deep in Ivory Coast territory. It's Patterson back the way to Suter. Just about quarter of an hour remaining as the Scots look for a leveller. Ferguson's got a bit of space here. Plays it out to the left hand side for Robertson, who has to scurry back a little bit to keep it in play. Plays it back into Ferguson, who nudges it into the path of Tierney. Ferguson once more on the left hand side. Robertson's hugging the touchline, that's where it goes. Back infield to Kenny McLean, who had a good game on Saturday, one of the few perhaps to get past him. It's a good ball forward. Ferguson lays it out to Robertson. Robertson with the deep ball in. Hurst won't get there. It's almost nodded into his own net there. I think it was Conan going back to make sure Hurst didn't get anything on it, and with his header just looped over the crossbar, and that could have been the equaliser in a slightly bizarre fashion. In the end, it's just a corner. 75 played, Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0.
Yeah, deep ball by Robertson there. I suppose the defender does his job, and he heads it behind for a corner, but I wouldn't be surprised if Scotland make a couple of substitutions up top. I think they both look a little bit heavy leg now. Hurst and Adams get a bit of freshness on up front.
Yeah, it looks like Lyndon Dykes is getting ready as the corner comes in. It's glanced on and somehow it's kept out. Have to get another look at that to see exactly what happened, but it was yet again as it falls to Hurst, whose snapshot is well wide. But Scotland coming close to an equaliser from the corner there, but once again Ivory Coast defence standing up to the test.
Yeah, whipped in near post. I think Hurst just gets ahead of his man, gets a little nick. Unfortunate. It's a little nick. It's 4 or 5 yards ahead of the near post. He directs it on target. It's a good little effort. He's actually, Hurst is coming off now for, I think, Dykes, and Adams, I would say, for Conway, I would think.
You're predicting all these changes at the right time.
I think they've given everything in front to him. I think Hurst had some good moments. He'll look back on his game and think, yeah, do you know what? He's done okay. Adams has not been his brilliant self as he has been many a times in a Scotland jersey, but I think listen, fresh energy up front for the last 15 minutes. Conway will certainly he'll flourish, enjoy playing up through the middle. I know he played on the left and he has played a bit there for Borough, but when he's played against, when I was at Preston, he played down the middle. He's been a threat with his energy and his runs and that, so hopefully he can link off Dykes and maybe get something from that.
Yeah, so a double change from Scotland up front as Dykes and Conway replace Hurst and Adams, and Ivory Coast have also made a change up front. Evan Gesson of Crystal Palace has come on for Wahi, whose debut is over, having been heavily involved in the only goal of the game, hitting the post from which Pepe scored the rebound. Hopefully that'll be that for the changes. As McGinn lets it run for Patterson on the halfway line. Back to McGinn on the right hand side for Scotland, powering forward. Challenge made by Wally there, and throwing goes Scotland's way. Conway's taken out of play there, right on the edge of the box, so it's going to be a free kick in a decent position, just a few yards back from the angle of the box on the right hand side. And this is definitely an opportunity, Stuart, to probably not for a strike on goal. It's too wide for that, but you can certainly get a wicked ball coming across the face of goal, and any touch could take it beyond the keeper.
I think it looks like it'd be Robertson again. He's put a couple of decent balls in tonight, but they've defended strongly.
Yeah, they have. They've been immense in defence, you would have to say. And Scotland with a chance to unlock that back line here with 12 minutes left of the 90. Andy Robertson, the captain.
Got a good height in there. Suter, Hyam, Dykes now on, Ferguson, Tierney's in there. Good targets to hit. Just put it in a good area. Go attack it.
Here's Robertson, sends it to the back post. It is a good ball, but again it's an Ivory Coast head that gets to it first. Sent behind for a corner. They just win every first ball.
Well, it's a good ball, it's in a good area. Go attack it. But again, they got the head on it first contact.
Corner kick then from the left hand side, to be taken by.
It's got to be alive on the edge of the box when it comes out.
Swings into the 6-yard box. Keeper claims it well. He's done well. Pretty inexperienced at international level, the 27-year-old Alban Lafont, but he took that under a bit of pressure there, and he's really not put a foot wrong or a glove wrong, and still Ivory Coast lead by a goal to nil with just over 10 left on the clock. As Steve Clark makes his way back to the edge of his technical area. Ivory Coast in possession through Agbadou. Down that left hand side, it's Adingra for Agbadou once more, and then into Diallo, who's just come into a deeper area, picks up possession, rolls it into Kessié here. Conway trying to put the pressure back there in the team, and Scotland have won it, but Ferguson then loses out, and then that's got to be a free kick to Ivory Coast. How on earth has that not been given?
I think he's definitely been a home. Well, he's not been a home because we're not at home, but he's been on Scotland's side tonight, the referee, that's for sure.
Here's Patterson, right hand side. Shot seemed to be blocked by an arm, and Scotland get the free kick. Well, it's in a very similar position. It's almost identical position to the one that Robertson had a few moments ago. But you're absolutely right. How Scotland got away without conceding a free kick when Ferguson seemed to haul an Ivory Coast player back there.
Looked like Ferguson was trying to swap shirts before the end of the game there. But I tell you who have done well tonight, the supporters, because it's not a full stand or a full stadium by any means, but the vocal backing's been excellent.
Here's Robertson then. Kenny Dalglish looking on from the stand, hoping that the Liverpool player can provide something here. It's directed goal, it's just off target. Oh, there's an offside flag up. It was Dykes perhaps that got something on that.
Another great ball by Robertson. Somebody just to go and attack it and be aggressive.
Yeah, just in the end, I'm not sure who was flagged offside. Suter might have been the Scotland player to try and direct that on target, but ultimately the flag has denied the Scots.
10 minutes to go. This is where we've got to be really aggressive on the press. Once you take the goal kick, man for man, go and have a go and try to win that ball back.
Clipped up to the halfway line then by Lafont. It's going to break from McGinn. Doesn't bring it under control though, and allows Ivory Coast to steal it back. In steps Suter, knocks it out of play there for the throw into Ivory Coast. Near side be taken by Touré, about 10 yards inside his own half on their left flank. 82 on the clock, 1-0 Ivory Coast, as Kessié is almost crowded out there, but does well to get that to Touré. Now it's Adingra, well challenged by Suter, and out to play for another throw-in. Emers Faye, the Ivory Coast manager, throwing it back in. He was appointed bizarrely midway through the African Cup of Nations, not the most recent one, the one prior to that was held in the Ivory Coast. They'd struggled in the group stage, finished third, and did qualify for the latter stages as a result of being one of the best placed teams, but the manager was still sacked. Here comes Scotland, it's Tommy Conway trying to find Hurst, well cut out by Kusunu, and it breaks kindly for Ivory Coast, and they're able to sweep it up to the halfway line.
Yeah, good little bit of pressure on again, they give it away, good football. Robertson, good run out wide to Conway, cut back, and they've just again they got the foot on it, defended it well.
Just to finish that little tale that Faye took over into the knockout stages and guided them to the trophy, and subsequently has taken them back to a World Cup. So it's doing pretty well. Former Ivory Coast international midfielder, a good ball in from Tierney, but cleared away again as they defend for their lives.
That was a story worth telling. It was a story worth telling.
Few of them are, has to be said.
Well, it's something I never knew. I didn't realise they'd won the tournament, or with him in charge.
Yeah. Here comes Scotland once more. It's Conway still looking for that leveller, which I kind of feel like they deserve. Do you agree?
I think I mean, we haven't had gilt-edged chances, but I think on the way the game's gone, I think we do deserve, and we've still got time. Come on, let's get a goal. Deserve it.
Ferguson, left hand side then, midway inside the Ivory Coast half, back the way.
I've had a lot of set pieces, Alan, corners, free kicks and dangerous headers. They've just defended so well.
Here's Ferguson, the angle of the box, left hand side. Conway's out there with him. Here he is, can't get past his man though, taken off him by Singo, and he'll try and get the ball clear, plays it back to Doué, and one well though touch. It's McGinn, 25 yards, slips it for a chance here for Robertson, and it's Dewey making the challenge to slide it behind for a corner as Robertson pulled the trigger. It might well have been troubling the keeper.
Again, lovely touch by McLean to McGinn. 2 subs come on. Boy gets across and yet again, excellent defended. Unfortunately.
Corner kick from the left hand side here for Scotland to be taken by Ferguson. Driven into the near post. Again, it's well defended. And Ivory Coast can try and bring it clear, but it's been won back once more by the Scots. Robertson sends it back in. Again, it's headed out of the penalty area. And it's an incredible slide there by Singo in the left flank to keep it in and start potentially a counter-attack. 5 to play here between Ivory Coast and Scotland. It's still 1-0 to the West African side.
I think in general, I mean, the set. I think in general the set players have been really good. You know, the corners and the free kicks. I think we've crossed the ball sometimes from too deep. We've not got, you know, in behind enough. You know, Robertson a couple of times first half, dead ball line, probably once in the second half as well. But we've been, and they're such a big physical side at the back. We've had 2 headers from about 15 yards out, which not going to really trouble anybody. But. Yeah, there's been encouraging signs. There has, because these are a good side, but I think it's been certainly better than the game on Saturday, just for a positive intent.
Yeah. Kusunu back to the goalkeeper. Lafont clears before he's closed down by Conway up towards Guesson. He can't get there. Across comes Tierney.
And don't get me wrong, I mean, we have looked open at times on the counter, and they've got a lot of pace in the side, so it's not something. A great ball.
McGinn for Robertson. Robertson will latch onto this left hand side of the box. Tries to cut it back for Conway. Conway chases it down inside the box. He goes down. Referee says no. I think he's probably right from this distance. It didn't look like a foul. The Tartan Army don't agree, but now Ivory Coast will come forward. We'll get Stuart's view on that in a second, but here's a Dingra at the other end, looking to kill this off for Ivory Coast, but Guesson couldn't bring it under control. Well, the boos are for the referee, Stuart, but I feel like Conway.
Yeah, I think it should be for Conway, if I'm honest. I mean, again, we've not seen it again, but the initial reaction was it was a bit like Roy Atkins died back in the World Cup 90 against Sweden, but we got a penalty for it that time. But I think that was a dive. It was a fantastic ball by McGinn, high to Robertson. Robertson cuts it back. Conway brings it down on his chest, and then it's a dive for me. But
the contact looked minimal.
Yeah,
and didn't need any encouragement to go down. And Ivory Coast survived that. Suter's done well there against Adingra. Wins it for Dykes. Dykes though tries to turn back in field. A good challenge by Ulai, and Ivory Coast then get the free kick for Tierney's challenge on Diallo. Just got a couple of minutes left of the 90. Scotland still trailing by a goal to 0, but there's been, I think, much more to be positive about in this performance, as we see absolutely no chance. The Conway claim waved away correctly by the referee.
He was trying to do his name. It was tried to con the referee there, Conway. There has.
Diallo spins away from Tierney.
Diallo.
Here he comes up towards the edge of the penalty area, past another challenge. Good save, Scott Bain. Down low to his left to tip that wide for a corner, as it looked like Diallo was going to claim a second for Ivory Coast.
Yeah, it's outstanding by Diallo. He just rolls Tierney. Tierney's looking, he's toiling a little bit now as the game goes on, but he dances by Suter as well there, and it's a really good save by Bain. But excellent play by Diallo. Sweet left foot going in the bottom corner. Really good firm left hand from Bain.
Yeah, it was a really good save. Got down low and a good strong wrist to push it behind. Scotland leaving 2 players up in attack here to force Ivory Coast to leave 3 back as they try and prevent a second goal going in here. We're into the 90th minute. Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0, as Diallo prepares to take the corner. Near post ball, won there by McLean, picked up by Adingra at the edge of the penalty area, and out to the left hand side to Kessier, who's been good in the middle of the park for Ivory Coast. Douay gets it back to Touré, and then back into his own half here for Kusunu. Out to the right hand side as The diminutive Diallo picks up once more. Then Dewey into the feet there of a teammate, and gets it back in the midfield. Out to Toure, left hand side. Scotland need to get possession of the ball. We're about to see the board. It's 3 minutes that have been added on here, and we're into those now. Scotland a goal down, and it could be a repeat of the scoreline against Japan. It could be another friendly defeat, as Conway though picks up from Tierney, and then he tries to find him again, but it's overhit, and all the way through to Lafont, the goalkeeper. And another example of that, just the final ball.
Yeah, he was trying to be positive. McGinn's made a good run. The ball should come out wide to Patterson, and then maybe we could have a 2v1 down the side. But he's never really criticised anyone trying to play the ball forward and try to create something.
Lafont, not a great clearance from him, but brave on his left hand side from Toure to get there before Patterson. But Hyam tidies up. He's been pretty decent, hasn't he? Not really put a foot wrong, Stuart.
He's not done anything wrong. He's done what's been expected of him.
Will he get another opportunity to impress Steve Clarke? Well, he'll be helping Wrexham try and get into the playoffs as forwards come Ivory Coast once more, but it's a commanding header by Hyam to get it clear only as far as Diallo. Little dummy there out on that right hand side by Singo. It's picked up once more by Diallo. He'll want to get another shot off here. He's got it through to Adingra, edge of the penalty area, trying to find room for the shot off the post and wide from Adingra. So close on the score sheet against South Korea on the weekend, and not too far away from also being on the score sheet here at Hill Dickinson in injury time, but denied by the upright, and remains Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0.
Yeah, I think we've been fortunate tonight that them two didn't start. Diallo and Adingra have both been excellent since they came on, give them such an attacking threat.
Yeah, they have got a wealth of talent at their disposal. It'll be interesting to see how they fare in the summer. Scotland coming forward, maybe time for one final attempt on goal. It's Ferguson left hand side, leaves it to Robertson, back now with Kenny McLean, angle of the box on that left hand side. Ferguson once more, can he put a decent delivery in here? It's won by Toure.
It's from a poor
McGinn gets it to Tierney. Tierney in the edge of the box, slips it to Robertson. Robertson left hand side, it's a great ball in, and things can't get there, and it's headed behind. This Ivory Coast side just simply do not want a goal to go in the back of that net, and they have defended.
It's good
just
play.
Incredibly
good play by, and crossing it from almost dead ball line again. Robertson, Ferguson's crossed it from about 30 yards out, no threat really. Then we go, nice bit of football, dead ball line, cut back, nice cross, great defending yet again.
Last chance here from the corner kick from McGinn, right hand side, left footed, headed away to the edge of the box. Patterson sends it back in. Will it fall for a Scot? It's going to fall for McGinn here, right hand side. Can he get it back into the area? He has done, back post, flicked away by Singo, picked up by Conway left hand side. Now Robertson, we're beyond the 3 minutes. Robertson sends it back in, and a keeper claims it, and it looks like Scotland will be falling to another friendly defeat. Try as they might, they just cannot find a way past this incredibly hard working, incredibly well organised Ivory Coast defence. And there is the final whistle, and it has been an improved effort certainly from the Scots from the Saturday display against Japan, but it's the same outcome exactly, a 1-0 defeat. But it feels like there's more to be positive about tonight in the performance overall, and we'll hear Steve Clarke's thoughts in the aftermath here this evening. But Nicolas Pepe's goal after just 12 minutes ultimately proving the difference between the sides after a good start to the game from Scotland. But Pepe on the rebound after Wahi's shot came back off the post was the decisive strike. Chances at either end throughout remained open all the way, but ultimately Scotland could not penetrate that cast iron Ivory Coast defence, and so it finishes at Everton's Hill Dickinson Stadium in front of 30,000 plus Scots who made the journey. Ivory Coast 1, Scotland 0.
Scotland, the national team.
Goal Scotland! Live on Sports Sound.
from BBC Radio Scotland.